what is real. Because there's no instructions, there's no guidance. You can't follow the culture to tell you what to do. A person can open their eyes to change their life and change themselves. Spectacular things exist on this earth that we don't really know too much about. There is some purpose that we're intended to follow and do something. I'm exploring the very little known world of exotic insects. I'm using this modern technology of macro photography, new cameras, new lenses, to magnify something that is normally very difficult to see. I've spent a lot of time traveling throughout the Amazon basin, searching for insects, and it all started here in Colombia. You can find a lot of insects in one place, you can find nothing, and yet there's no explanation for it. Very little is known about insects and where they live and their populations. I can't go and look anywhere for a specific insect because nobody knows if it's there or not. You just look and you see what you find. And some of these are extremely exotic. I was seeing things that I never noticed before. Pretty. Green lakes, green and brown lakes, red eyes. What was noticeable to me was the instinct to survive, to not be killed and to survive is extremely strong. Ooh, look at that, the black drop coming out. That's a toxic substance. It's used for self-defense. It's not like the intelligence of a human being that's all connected with a big brain. It's just something organic. Every time I would look for an insect, I'd find some kind of spectacular thing. And eventually I got hooked. Nice. Ever since childhood, I've been interested in psychology. I've always had empathy for what people are feeling. It was easier for me to understand other people. And at the same time, I was trying to figure out a way to understand myself and what had happened to me as a child, with the aim really eventually to cure myself.
We grew up in southern Ohio, in Dayton, Ohio, in the southwestern part of the state. This was a pig farm. And I don't know whether you've ever been to a pig farm, but you don't really want to be in a pig farm.
My childhood was tough. It was really more than tough.
So it was either 100%, perfect, you were 99%, you got it, you got whacked.
I was a therapist approximately 20 years. I helped some people. But the help that people receive really is not through what I did, it's through what they do.
I think he took very seriously the concerns and upsets of his patients to the extent that it was starting to bother him.
Sometimes when we would visit with him during that period of time, he was lost in another world.
At some point, the energy that I was feeling in doing this work was not the healthiest energy. As most people that are in therapy, they're depressed in some way or another. The depressed energy is something that has an effect on other people. So it was pulling my energy down.
My brother thought that during his practice, he was failing his patients and his patients were failing him. So that was a great source of frustration.
In essence, they're putting a responsibility for their lives onto me. And I didn't like that too much. It's an unpleasant thing because then I didn't know what to do. Do I just wait for them to work through this, or do I need to call the police? And this happened many times. Very bad experience for me.
He was really in a state of quiescence for a while. I think he wanted to start something new, but I don't think he knew what it was.
My brother stopped practicing psychology in the early 90s. He was about 50 years old.
It's a lot of stress. You're in a situation where there's a lot of negative energy, so it was time for me to go do something else. And I felt I was just going into a totally an unknown life. I had a girlfriend once, and she gave me a book by Garcia Marquez called Love in the Time of Cholera. A very strange book about Colombia. I was impressed by his writing. I was impressed by the life view that's reflected in the book. I thought, this Colombia's got to be a lot more loose and freer kind of environment. That's when I started visiting Colombia. What impressed me most was the friendliness of people there. Friendly, open people, wanting to engage with you.
1901. ¿Sí?
People are not racing around as fast as Americans. They're not as competitive. They're always eager to talk and really be friendly. Here in the United States, I could call a friend and say, let's have lunch. And she might say to me, well, I can have lunch in 3 weeks at 12 o'clock. You don't find that in Colombia. Life in Colombia is very different from life in the US. I thought to myself, why not take this leap and move to Colombia?
The Department of State warns that due to recent events, Colombia's security situation is unsettled and likely to remain so in the indefinite future.
Escobar was notorious for killing anyone who posed a threat to his overwhelming power and riches.
Kidnappings, terrorism, drugs, all sorts of things loomed, and I kept thinking that Bob would not be able to go unscathed.
I didn't know anything about Colombia until 6 months after he'd gone there. And my parents told me that Bob had gone to Colombia. And I had absolutely no idea why he had done so.
He was brave from day one. Different and brave, because that's brave to go against the expectation.
I think he was following an instinct, see where it would lead.
In order to progress, one has to overcome a lot of fears. And that's what I did.
About the same time, Bob decided he would go to Colombia, and a terrible thing happened because one of our sister companies, one of their executives in Colombia was kidnapped and held for over a year for ransom and was eventually released. Naturally, we were very fearful, scared, and I was kind of upset that was his choice.
I did know that Colombia was a dangerous place. It didn't bother me at all. If you get stopped at a roadblock, you could be kidnapped, taken up into the mountains. Somehow I just thought that's not going to happen to me. Somehow I knew if I go to Colombia, I have no idea what's going to happen to me after that. No idea. I just saw it as a possibility for a new way of life. There's danger, but there's danger everywhere. To be bored in life and to go through the motions, to me, is living a form of death. So if something new is dangerous, so be it. I was robbed several times, taken advantage of, and then I learned quick. I learned quick to be much more vigilant, not so friendly, not so trusting. There'd be terrible days that I just felt terrible being there, and then the next day would be a wonderful day. I started getting to know people, started learning Spanish. It's like the old person died and it's time to create a new one. Eventually I saw a piece of land in the mountains outside of Cali, and it was just like a wasteland, really. A lot of garbage, a lot of dead trees, but it had a certain form to it. I saw the potential for this place and I said, oh, I could live here and write a book. It cost like $40,000. And I bought the land. I mean, this is a big leap, a leap of faith, really, that I could have a good life in Colombia. Really, I didn't know. Maybe I would have a terrible life in Colombia. But it seemed like a good thing to do, and the Finca did become a project, a special project. Finca is a house in the country with some land attached to it. I became a custodian of this piece of the earth, and this changed my psychology. Because now I was not just me, I was me and this land. Created some stability for me, because I had a place to live, I had the earth that was part of me, I had these projects to do, and then other projects began. It was right about that time when I began taking photos of all these aspects of life in Colombia. I began to take photos of flowers that existed where I lived. One day I saw a hummingbird at the flowers, and I just thought, I wonder what would happen if I put out hummingbird feeders. There was one hummingbird that came, and then for 3 years, new hummingbirds would come. All these hummingbirds just kept pouring in. And that really was the start of serious photography. You could take a photo of a hummingbird, and you look at the photo, it's terrible. Terrible photo. Because you can't take a normal photo of a hummingbird and have it be a good photo. So one has to think of, how do I do this? So I studied this, and I learned how to take a good photo of a hummingbird, which means, how do you stop a movement of a wing that's going 50, 60 beats per second? Then I set up my own hummingbird studio, and eventually I could take a good photo of a hummingbird. And this led to a kind of confidence that if I could take a good photo of a hummingbird, I could take a good photo of anything. I was in the north of Colombia one day doing a travel photography project. And that's when it happened. I saw a beetle on a bush. With a normal lens, I took the photo of this beetle. Then afterwards, I'm looking at the photo, and I see that this beetle has his hand like this, and out of his hand is like a cord that leads to two prongs like this. So in effect, he's got two hands in one. And I realized I'd never seen that before. I'd never seen an insect really up close. That just started a kind of trigger. I mean, it was like a trigger to take photos of insects. I got a macro lens and started going out looking for insects. As soon as I began that, I discovered a lot of fantastic phenomena. But I realized that I couldn't do this work by myself. Christian is my assistant in the photography. He's also the major domo in my finca. A major domo is a person who administers the finca, does all the physical work there. He lives there with his family. And through the years, I've become very close to his family. He came to me by accident. I hired him, and then I said, Christian, let's go and look for insects. And then after a very short time, he became an expert.
Como todo colombiano, ahí tenemos una cultura, ¿no? Y pues siempre hay cierto pensamiento hacia el extranjero y es sentirse un poco extraño, lastimosamente como aquí en Colombia, que las personas te tratan a ti por el extracto, por...
Nosotros veníamos de una cultura en que se maneja patrón, empleado y hay una distancia. Con Don Robert no era sencillo como tener, por decir, esa relación, porque él quería como que fuéramos familia, que nos integráramos. Entonces yo era muy callada con él.
Yo a él siempre le he dicho que él es mi abuelo, porque es una persona que él siempre está con uno, apoyándolo. Él le gusta mucho apoyarme en mis estudios. Él le gusta mucho que yo salga adelante.
We started like 8 years ago, and then through the years, the eyesight of Christian has developed so much that he can see a lot of things that are basically invisible to other people. He learns to recognize small movements, to see small things at a greater and greater distance. It's a training of the eyes that takes place over the course of many years.
Y a medida de que va pasando el tiempo, entre más voy buscando, es como si la visión se me... En una ocasión estaba cuando a través de la camioneta, como a unos 10 metros, vi un insecto diminuto. Y yo le digo a él muchas veces me dice, Cristian, ¿pero cómo encuentras? Y yo le pregunto, ¿y usted cómo toma esa foto? Entonces, yo creo que más es como un trabajo en equipo y ambos hacemos un equipo.
To develop the techniques has been a process over 10 years. So during that 10 years, it's just improvising every year, improvising, analyzing the photos, what works, what doesn't work, how we can make it better.
No es, yo anteriormente, antes de entrar a esto, pensaba que tomar una foto era algo sencillo, un animal, algo no complicado, pero hoy en día uno comprende que sobre todo las fotos de los insectos, es algo muy, muy complicado, de mucha dedicación, de mucha perfección.
You do everything to reduce. Now it's too much light, too much, too little. Okay. See, this is too hard, so we need a third person. Esta línea aquí es la luz de la flash. Okay, so hay que sacar todo eso. Y todos tienen eso, no puedo hacer nada. Pero la cara está bueno. Not bad. It's constantly evolving. The idea is always trying to make the photos better, so I try different things. You just allow a process to take place and experiments to happen. A lot of people are very afraid of handling insects. Some of them are actually aggressive, can bite you. The majority are not. He's trying to eat my finger. Spiders, you got to figure out, which ones are aggressive, which ones not. So are we sure? ¿Estamos seguros que no es venenoso? Mm-hmm. So this spider, you can get him to walk over your hand. He won't do anything. Yeah, so. Not that I'm gonna try that. Ooh, nice. Get real close now. I don't know what kind of spider it is, but because there's so many kind of spiders. It could be, This one here is a Brazilian wandering spider and has the ability to kill a person rather quickly. It bites you and you lose the ability to breathe. It's the most toxic of all the spiders. We don't want to get bitten by it. It took a process of years of learning what's dangerous and what's not. What I was learning about the life force in insects was they're formidable. They're spectacular creations of evolution, of some kind of very long process that's been going on millions and millions of years. It's a stressful situation for an insect because an insect assumes that anything big or bigger than it has an aggressive intention toward them. So I try to offset that by, showing them that we're not trying to hurt them. We're just trying to do this strange thing of flashing a light and taking a photo. Ooh. I'm trying to convince them that's what we're doing. We're just taking a photo. And then after that, then they can go about their business.
What you doing? What you doing? You want to stay here? You think this is your new home?
Sometimes you can see an insect change its behavior, and after 10 minutes, let's say, looks to be posing for a good photo. I started just where I lived in Colombia, just around the house. Found everything we could find. After a while, we didn't find anything new. Then I went further and further afield and went into a rainforest, which is 3 hours from where I live.
Oh.
As you're driving downhill, this is going west toward the Pacific coast, and it's like you're entering into a place that looks like Jurassic Park in the movie.
Right.
It's a magical kind of place. Found a lot of stuff there. Estamos en el borde de este fondo, so hay que empujar esto. We did that for a couple of years, traveling close to home, finding cool things, but after a while, I decided we needed to go further into the rainforest. We're exploring a very little known world of exotic insects. They're insects that have developed within the Amazon forest. And some of these are extremely strange.
There was a recent estimate that came out of 8.7 million animals. But if you look at the proportion of those which are insects, all of the estimates say there should be about 80% of all animal life are insects. We know almost nothing about these things, and yet you think about what they do. They're a food source for virtually the entire food web. So all those species of insects are feeding everything. We wouldn't have birds, we wouldn't have a lot of mammals, we wouldn't have bats if we didn't have the insects that they're feeding on. They are the foundation for everything we see around us out there.
If you want to study biodiversity, you need to study insects. They're dominant in the world. They've always been dominant in the world. And there's estimates that we know just a fraction of the number of species that are out there. I think we can increase that diversity quite a bit by just investigating a lot of these different groups.
So we're going to take a trip from Cali to Manu National Park in Peru. And this is a long trip. We get up early in the morning. We drive from the finca to the airport. We fly from Cali to Bogota, Bogota to Lima, and Lima to Cusco, Cusco to Puerto Maldonado, which is a frontier city that's on the edge of the jungle. So now we have to try to find a large taxi, but look at the size. Look at the size of the taxis. No. Este carro. No hay carro.
think that one of the most important things that Robert's work does is gives these animals a dignity. And even if it's just having people appreciate their beauty more. I mean, when I look at some of his photos, I can't believe that a creature like this even exists.
There are insects that have developed within the Amazon forest.
Ooh.
There you find the most elaborate things.
Photographers that are out in the field capturing a lot of the diversity do a great service, getting information out in terms of what's really out there, all the cool different things and the different forms that people aren't usually exposed to.
Having images of life on Earth that nature inspires people. It really raises the awareness of what's at stake.
What I'm doing is using macro photography to magnify something that's basically small. And if something is small, human beings can ignore it. And that's a big problem.
How many insects have you walked past because you never saw them? When people see these creatures that they never possibly believed existed, it's amazing to them, and they become interested in nature, they become interested in wildlife, and they become interested in conservation. That is so important that they do that.
And I started looking through Robert's work, and I remember feeling a little embarrassed. I had spent my time in the forest looking just at these big things and not realizing the majority of life around me was something that I had never seen before.
We are looking for the weird ones, the strange ones, the beautiful ones, the ugliest ones, really the most interesting and photogenic ones. There are so many incredible insects out here, but some of my favorite ones to find are the katydids. So you have these two different branches of katydids. One wants to be undetected, wants to be invisible, and the other who wants to be visible. The visible one, he wants to advertise that he is not good to eat, or that he's a fighter. He's gonna possibly hurt you. The hard part about that is some of these guys are so quick and agile.
Oh, he's aggressive.
Whoa. You can hold it like this, and it will escape. It will fall down or escape in some way, turn over, and bite your finger at the same time.
So, as I was saying, he bites very hard.
The bright colors are an indication of you don't want to fool with me. I taste bad, or I'm gonna bite you bad. So I get the shot that's like this open, but she can go like this. She can do it so wide that she can get to your end of your finger. This has a name, you know what the name is? Spiny devil. This is all deep rainforest creations that are more elaborate so they can escape detection by the predators. This is, dun 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 dun, this is a female, a baby, katydid. So it has these appendages around the joints of the legs to make it look like just kind of a mass But when you look at it closely, you know, you can, ooh, that's a good one. Get the head right there. The other katydids that want to be invisible, they're probably pretty good to eat, and they develop extreme camouflage. The camouflage technique is something that becomes incorporated into its physical structure. One of the tricks of the leaf mimicking katydid is there can be a line that runs right up through the center of the eye, and that sort of changes the perception that there's an eye. There's a central vein in the leaf. There are all these different details in the leaf, including rotten out spots, mold spots. Whatever a leaf can be, these guys are imitating them. And since there's an infinite number of leaves and different shades and colors, there are an infinite number of leaf mimicking katydids. It's a process of, you know, evolution over millions of years of perfect disguise. This has so many different, just subtle tones, different colors. The highly disguised insect is hard to find, but is easier to photograph because it's programmed not to move very much, because movement means that it can be detected. This is really the most extreme leaf katydid in terms of the part that looks like it's been eaten goes very deep into the wing, and it crosses the vein in the middle of the leaf. We've never seen anything like that before.
It's just remarkable when you see the way in which so many of these insects have been able to develop body forms that absolutely mimic their backgrounds, whether they're looking like dead leaves or the tree bark on which they perch, or like little twigs.
They've hardly been studied, very few photos, because somebody who's not familiar with these insects will never see them. And yet they're dependent on their unique environments in order to live and survive.
And as we see decreases in habitat, either complete loss through conversion to other land uses or degradation of the habitat, then essentially it undermines their ability for a long-term survival in those places.
Pero ¿qué piensas tú? ¿Qué va a pasar con el bosque cuando hay mucha exploración de petróleo? ¿Qué va a pasar con el bosque?
Se secará, se morirán, habrán quemaduras de gases, como está pasando en Repsol, por ejemplo. Un montón de insectos que mueren en la noche.
Que mueren.
Muchos. Ya, entonces eso es lo que va a pasar y el bosque se irá terminando porque yo recuerdo en, ¿cómo se llama? En Edén, y es como un desierto.
It's economics, it's money. I mean, whether it's on a very small scale or a larger scale, I mean, government creates policies for economic growth, which often affects their environment.
Most people do not resist. You have a chance to make a lot of money. You're going to make a lot of money. What happens to the forest, the natives that live there, the animals? You're going to forget about that.
If the price of oil goes up, oil extraction increases. There's an incredible amount of oil extraction right now in the Amazon. Over 70% of the Peruvian Amazon is leased out to oil companies.
With deforestation, we're losing species before they're being discovered. There have been times when I've been collecting in an area where ashes are literally falling on me.
In the jungles on the eastern part of Ecuador, below the earth is just vast sources of oil. The president of Ecuador has decided, sell these lots off to the big oil companies.
We know that these animals need their habitat to survive. We're losing tens of thousands of species every year, most of them in the tropics because of deforestation.
The cutting down of the trees for illegal logging is really out of control. I just try to go to places that are farther away from this kind of activity.
Estar totalmente concentrado. Pues conocer un poco de que hay insectos que son para buscarlos de día, otros de noche, ¿no? Y una de las técnicas es andar muy despacio, tener mucha paciencia. Yo creo que mucha es mucha.
There's a lot of things that are here, but we just don't see them. They're hidden from us. They're on the other side of that leaf.
Me gusta andar mucho solo, ojalá que el que me acompaña o esté retirado para pues, que no haya desconcentración. Los animales de por sí son muy inteligentes, entonces oyen cualquier clase de ruido y puedes perder el insecto que querías.
We can see just how remarkable this young man Christian is because he sees everything. Christian, he goes out at night, he comes in maybe at 2 a.m. He goes to sleep. I don't know what he's found until the following morning. And then he gets up and he notices I'm awake and he says, they found a super champion. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. Oh, wow. When he says super champion, we know he's ecstatic. And we go to work. Turns out what he's found is a new type of tree hopper. We've never seen anything like this. It's a special feeling. The fossil record for tree hoppers is like 40 million years. A tree hopper was found in amber and dated back that old. So they've been around a long time. Taking a photo of a small thing with the macro lens, the lens is maybe this close to the insect. Tree hoppers are from 1 millimeter in length to 10 millimeters, which is a centimeter. So I get nervous. The nerves are, will I be able to take a good photo of this? Or will it escape? You don't have any depth of field, you can't get a clear focus unless all the parts of the insect are equal distance to the lens. Over time, the steadiness in holding this kind of apparatus is pretty good. Ooh, look at that. This is the ant, that's the tree hopper. This is a big ant, this is a little tree hopper. The tree hopper eats the phloem, the liquid that's inside the stems here. And then it excretes drops of liquid, and the liquid is sweet. So the ants like the liquid, so they take care of the tree hoppers. They protect the tree hoppers. His eye is black, so I've got to get more light from Christian's flashlight to get. They can be tough to work with. Tree hoppers are difficult because they're very sensitive to vibrations in the air. We're working with a special tree hopper, and it jumps and flies, and then you lose it, and you lose it inside the studio. And you look, 30 minutes, you look for it, you can't find it. The adventure really is finding things that are new, that we've never seen before. No, I don't have anything like this one.
One of the tools for discovering new species is actually looking at photographs that people have taken, because the more eyes that are on the ground, the more things are going to be discovered. It's great to see photographs of things that have been photographed live for the first time. This could very well be a new species, and here's a side view.
Okay, we got the weirdest tree hopper in the world here. The variety of tree hoppers is really infinite. Those that have been classified, maybe there are 3,000. But actually, in reality, how many are there? Maybe there are 10,000, maybe there's 20, nobody knows. And that's partly why rapid habitat loss and mass extinction events are so alarming, because we don't even know how many species we're losing. Christian and I have traveled throughout the Amazon basin, and we found some incredible things.
Que Dios me ha regalado y que le agradezco mucho a Don Robert por darme esa oportunidad de poder conocer, de poder estar en sitios absolutamente maravillosos, espectaculares.
How did I find Christian in the first place? By chance? I don't think so. He has an understanding of this as a kind of a spiritual kind of thing, that we're guided to find these things. It's probably true. We spend a lot of time and effort looking for things that very few people are looking for.
In the early days of natural history, the people that were doing insect taxonomy were people that could go and get on a ship and spend 3 or 4 weeks getting to a location to see an environment and be able to sample that environment. We can be there in a few hours now on an airplane. So field photography has become more and more paramount and goes hand in hand to systematic biology. Maybe somebody takes a picture of something that's never been photographed before. And then 10 years later, somebody else takes a picture, but in a different context. Over time, you start to accrue pictures of the same species in different contexts, in different environments, and doing different things. And really, you can imagine a time when you can look back over 200 or 300 years of photographic documentation. Seeing a real specimen is great, but seeing a photo of the specimen, you can reach millions of people.
I think that there is a path that's given to us. I believe our purpose is to find and document as many of these strange and beautiful insects as possible.
You see that?
We find so many different types and species of insects, but one of the most captivating are the mantids. One thing they do that no other insect does is that they can rotate their head from side to side, and one gets the feeling that they can be looking at you and studying you as you are looking at them.
When you hold them in your hand, they look back at you. Why they're doing that? They're predators. When you look at a spider creeping along a tree trunk, it is not doing anything that we do or we think of as human behaviors, types of movement. But mantids seem to have captured or embodied that sort of predatory aspect of perceiving the environment just a little bit more.
They feel comfortable hanging upside down under leaves, and they're all bunched up. When I take a photo of a mantis in that position, it's hard to make them out. The texture and the color merges with all the leaves around them.
Survival for many of these groups depends on their ability to blend in. It's not so much them crafting themselves, they are crafted by the environment.
You have, for example, green leaf mantids. They look just like leaf with veins. You have bark mantids living in tree trunks. These characters evolve through natural selection. And they're hard to find because they are really difficult to see.
You have birds, you have lizards, you have monkeys, you have lots of other different animals. They're all gunning for you. They all want to eat you. It's this whole environmental shaping that seems to have driven a lot of diversity within praying mantids.
The gray, dark brown, that's mostly gray. It's really hard to see. So he knows his best defense is not to move. Eso.
Photography really has a focusing capability. And if you want to diagnose this species from that species, photography allows you to focus into the particular thing that you're trying to communicate about the uniqueness of that species.
Let's get the face. Okay, get the face.
I got the face.
All of these photographs and images can really help us to understand so much more about what these things are doing.
No, but look at the color. You know, the color on that, though. Well, that's what I'm trying to do, you know, just show the spectacular creation that happens in the insect world so people will understand it's not just elephants and lions. I mean, there are all kinds of creatures that are equally special. They've been here a long time and have undergone an amazing evolution, and they deserve our respect and protection. A few years ago, I realized finding the insects and taking the photos was just half the job. I started seeing that this is something that would be good to show many people, so many people can see this and learn about what's really out there. For that reason, you know, I started creating the website so that people can really see this, and it started. More and more people, they're seeing the photos, they're making comments. But still, it's a small amount of people. And I started looking for ways to get the word out to a bigger audience.
The power of those images to display these amazing creatures and their evolutionary adaptations are really going to be critical, because until you value something, you're not going to really see meaningful action to protect it.
Every habitat has a wide diversity of species in it. And what's really interesting is that every one of those species is important for that habitat. If you were to think about all of those species as individual bricks in a home, and let's say that you take one brick out of the home. Okay, the home still functions, but probably not as well. A little bit of cold air gets in. You take another brick, it's a little bit worse. You keep on going. What eventually happens? The house falls down.
We have to assume that many insects are being lost because the habitat is being lost. Human beings are actually destroying animals at a very fast rate. All these other animals feed primarily on insects. Many species will be lost before people ever know that they've existed. Got you now. That's a good one. The photos really, they have a message. To me, the message is, we're special creatures. We're special creatures, and we've been around for a long time. They're much more advanced, much more intelligent than people know. To me, it's important to show that because they represent, as human beings do, the creations of the life force that's in everything. It's something we should respect. What I try to do now is to not only show that the insect exists, but to put it in a context, in a field of light that really is an artistic composition. How does one get an artistic eye? When I think about it, this has been developing over years and years. Just seeing things. Try to make this insect photography into an art form. So I thought of ways to combine photos. You can see the insect, you can see how it blends into the background. And I look at the best images that I have for a certain insect and I try to think of a concept, how to present that. I like the idea of composites because you can see, for example, there's one of a certain katydid that opens its wings and looks like a moth, right? So then there's one composite where you see it from the front when its wings are open, from the back and from the side, and then when its wings are closed.
What Robert's work does is it's an entryway for many people that maybe don't know very much about tropical forests or don't know very much about insects. It's so fascinating and captures your fascination and your imagination that you want to learn more.
At first I was just happy to take the photos and enjoy doing that. But after a while I realized, this is something really that should be seen by other people. About that same time, I received an invitation to have a gallery show in New York.
Hi, I'm Suzanne Pelletier. I'm Executive Director of the Rainforest Foundation. Thank you so much for coming tonight. I thought it'd be a great way to showcase Robert's work to people that not only are supporters that are not only art lovers, but also really care about the subject of Robert's work, these beautiful, beautiful insects and the forests where they live.
When you see this, these are the most fantastic, strangest, most beautiful things you can find. It's extremely difficult to find these because they don't want to be found. At the show, I'm nervous because I'm not used to talking about really the work. I'm just a person that's in action. Okay. I'm in action, I'm taking photos, I'm working on the photos and so on and so forth. I'm not talking. My name is Robert Ullman. I'm a photographer, insect hunter. As I get more into the flow, I'm happy because I'm sharing with other people. And some of these people are genuinely interested. Many of the people are. So the thing about these, this is all very rare insects.
Now, Robert, in real life, how big are these things?
Depends. This is 1 millimeter.
Oh my gosh.
It's a katydid that looks like a leaf. And this is one of the more perfect ones. When you put yourself in a certain state of mind, and then the ideas just come out.
He thinks these pictures are wonderful and that people will like to see them. Not because he took them, and these are wonderful things that he did, but look at these wonderful things that there are, and I want to share them with you.
So this starts here. It's all bunched up here. So nobody knows that it's an insect. So the telltale sign of what it is the shape of the head. So that's a mantis. How could this be? I mean, this is some kind of, what you learn is something about evolution. You learn about the nature of life itself. This is Colombia and jungles in Colombia, and others are from Peru and Ecuador.
He's very open, and that openness is, I think, a very rare thing.
So, and I do this, and I just feel like a young person. Does everybody know what a tree hopper is? These are tree hoppers. These have been around for 40 million years. Much longer than human beings.
My brother has become centered. That is, he's discovered something that he loves, he likes doing it, he feels fulfilled, and he's getting recognition. And that is really a 20-year transition.
I get a lot of satisfaction from it. I'm working on this day and night and trying to communicate with a lot of people. It's a great job. Thanks for coming. I mean, there's a lot of people. That's great. what I'm looking at now, what I see are, in the insects or the animals, they're all like little people. They're not so different from us. As I see that, I feel more empathy for them.
¿Qué es ese tenis amarillo?
Tiene azul aquí el borde como una tinta. Es como violeta.
Es muy importante esa labor que están haciendo Robert y Christine. Ha empezado a mirar lo importante y lo maravilloso que tenemos a nuestro alrededor, a generar conciencia ecológica.
Yeah, I know. You see everything, right? You see everything. Okay.
When you know what's here, do you want to kill it or do you want to preserve it? You got to make a choice. If you don't make a choice, you're going in the direction of, okay, let's kill all these things and not be conscious that we're doing that. I'm just doing my part. Whatever that force is saying, well, you got a job to do. And do it well. So people will notice. Let's be conscious of what exists here and then not kill them. Not kill the insects, not kill all the animals, not kill the forests. I'm a part of nature. I'm just part of the life force and trying to do something that will create more harmony in the world. Hopefully, working together with more and more people, we can preserve nature for future generations, for our children, for our grandchildren, and all those yet to come.
Watching and waiting, walking blindly where the light meets the crack. Shepherd the silence, switching lanes, veer from the path. Nobody's hearing me. Ooh, I wanna see all of it blooming, all of it shine. I wanna see all of it blooming, all of it shine. Hunted, hoping, hostile and blue. Breaking, building blocks around the truth. Nobody's hearing me. Ooh, I wanna see all of it blooming, all of it its own time. Nobody's hearing me. Ooh, I wanna see all of it blooming, all of it shining.